Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana Live. You found us in your podcast apps, your Spotify, Apple, and it's Sunday, July 12th, 2 p.m., which means
that we are live on youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. Hello, YouTube room. How are we doing?
hello, all the frogs and the friends out there worldwide. We're going to talk about some wrestling and whatever else is going on in the world of, well, wrestling. And our world, I guess. How you doing? You holding up?
Just about, yeah. It's been an exhausting few weeks, but we're still alive. We're still kicking. We've got to beat Argent FIFA next and then go on to the finals.
Wow. You have to beat the Messi?
Yeah.
It's going to get messy with the Messi? Is that next for Team England?
That'll be on Wednesday.
Right. So then how many, like next Sunday is the World Cup final.
Yeah.
Not doing a show next Sunday.
We're at the semifinals now. So France
Wow.
v Spain on Tuesday, England, Argentina on Wednesday.
Damn. All right. It's almost over. Next Sunday, we won't do a show because of the World Cup, but we will still be doing some sort of show a few days after next Sunday. So there's some housekeeping there because, yeah, World Cup final. The city, I feel like all the tourists maybe left. They go watch the games wherever else they are, but the city's still alive because it's summertime. And I say the city's alive. There was like 7 different shootings last night. So you know it's the summertime in Toronto when it's popping off for real. So love to our city because sometimes there's not enough of it. But yeah.
Yeah, stay safe out there. Stop shooting people. Come on. Be friends. Be like Haaland and Bellingham at the end of that game. You know, embrace each other, love each other. It's okay. We can have our differences, but you don't need to shoot each other, guys. Come on.
Yeah, shoot balls, not guns. Right.
I'm saying it as if our listeners like, oh shit, wait,
man.
that's a revelation. Yeah.
I should stop doing that.
But, yeah.
That's what it feels like. Yeah, so we're all Team England now. It's coming home. As I see someone in the chat, Cameron, we see you. Thank you. Good luck this upcoming Wednesday. I kind of want the World Cup to be over for 2 reasons. Number 1, you're my coworker. Therefore, we need to stop messing around with these fake sports and focus on the real fake sports. But also, as your friend, because these World Cup, you're getting too out of control with the... Apparently, you started a fire in your house.
Oh, that was something different. You can hear all that about that on Behind the BDE as well. We've talked about that.
Your roommate now. If longtime listeners know, I used to be like, "Hey, Davie, stop starting fires." But Graham is worried because he's like, "Hey, I think he started a fire when I was away," and I was like, "No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine." So no fires.
That was during NXT. The fire.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
You can hear us talk about that behind the BDE. We did a cooking show the other day in your apartment.
We did.
I can testify. There is no smell, no remnants of a fire. But you were cooking up a storm, and we did a little video. We did a video in your kitchen while you were cooking up and barbecuing and whatnot. So the summer is here, and it's been fun. So go check out our patreon.com/Poisonrana. If you're a family member patron, you get access to Behind the BDE. And we talked all about everything going on in the world, but you can get a first eye view of cooking before a barbecue.
Yeah, you get to see a different side of the BDE. It was set up quite nicely. I thought we could do more of that. But yeah, we had a bit of a pre-beach break barbecue, which got us in the mood. But I agree with you. I'm kind of ready for this tournament to be over. I've been really enjoying it, but it has been exhausting and trying to, figure out things with work and schedules. Like, they keep on scheduling me. There's 2 English bartenders at my job. There's lots of employees, and they keep scheduling the only 2 English people to be working
during the game.
Games. And it's like even though there's TVs and stuff everywhere, you can't watch it. When it's busy
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
slinging drinks, you're not watching it. So that's been stressful. I think it's always weird because there's always the hype at the beginning of the tournament when everyone's in it. And obviously hosting it here, you had a lot of people visiting and things. And it does feel like you're like limping over the finish line by the time you got to the last few teams. Like people who were knocked out, maybe have lost a bit of interest. People are tired from just watching so much football. It is reminiscent of the G1 in a way.
Yeah. Like there's just so much of it. And then maybe you're into some of the big matches when you see them on paper, like, oh, this week or this weekend is this match. And then by the end of it, maybe your favorites get knocked out or something. And then you're like, all right, I guess I want to see who wins it towards the end of it. So it's coming home though. I want you guys to win so that at least, the Brits can. What I heard a crazy stat. The last time England won a World Cup was like 1966 or something.
Yeah, 60 years. 60
Wow.
years ago.
Holy shit. All right. Well,
so we need to win, and then we need Badil, Skinner, the Lightning Seeds, and Fat Les all to get together and make some crazy World Cup celebration song.
Right.
3 lines and a Vindaloo. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's been like, you guys got you guys got British artists that could come together to make some sort of new one. Unfortunately, it would be that
No, I just want the old ones. They've tried. They've tried every tournament and nothing's hit like that. Like it would 96.
Yeah, it would be like some white rapper. It would totally be some like Central C, like white guy doing grime music. would be the new British theme song. So, yeah, let's stick to the old. Get the Stones. They just put out an album. Get them to do it or something. Yeah. But yeah, it's coming home. Maybe, or maybe you're cheering on another team out there. Good for you, and go sports, go teams. But World Cup, 1 week left in this tournament. The G1 has started actually, and maybe it's more or less grueling than the World Cup. We'll talk a little bit about it in a bit. But yeah, almost over this World Cup. So take it in while you still can, unless you're already footied out like most of us.
Bit of housekeeping. We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Poisonrana. And we've been recording a bunch of stuff. We just mentioned we released our latest Behind the BDE for our World Champion family member patrons. We've also recently done an upYours talking about TNA Impact from 2009, which is very interesting as we're going to talk a little bit about Dark Side of the Ring, the two-parter that just came out, Jeff Jarrett and TNA. So a nice little companion piece for you there. You can watch the episode where things were really falling off the rails. As well as this week, we released our latest episode of Was Next from July 31st, 2014, an episode of NXT featuring Charlotte versus Becky for maybe the first time in singles action, as well as Tyson Kidd and Natalia's relationship getting a little rocky, but a surprisingly fun promo exchange between Adrian Neville and Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, Was Next is an interesting show. It was the debut of FTR in NXT, like the Mechanics, the Revival, way before they were called either of those things, the Mechanics. So we had a great conversation about Scott Dawson, which one's Dash, which one's Dawson, and their whole career. And Was Next is a great show to see where wrestlers either end up or don't end up in the world of wrestling. But get those shows, plus our King of the Ring 96. Because of Dark Side, we're kind of on the fence about doing this other show. So maybe listeners, if there's a need or a want for this, perhaps we'll do it. We were watching Dark Side this week, and we're like, oh man, Jeff Jarrett, what a legend. Those Dark Side episodes, you're learning a lot. Should we do a best match ever? Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Is that something that people need? Right? Like,
are we talking this week?
I can't even name a Jeff Jarrett match off the the one with Jeff Hardy with the chainsaw in AEW.
I know there was one because I've been listening to Benno and Hamflet who've been doing In Your House, and I'll have to ask them which one it was, but there was a Jeff Jarrett match that they were both like blown away with, like surprised. We're talking, mid-90s WWF. So I'll message them to see what they say. But yeah, you've got some with Kurt Angle there in TNA.
Kurt Angle, true. There, a few stuff in TNA when I was watching do come to mind. I know he did feud with Jeff, like all those AJ Styles. Obviously, there's got to be something from WCW.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre match, right?
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about.
Oh, the Jeff, AEW. Right? Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be something that's different and gives us some conversations about stuff maybe we haven't watched. So maybe it's not a bad.
We haven't really watched a whole lot of Jeff, have we, on these shows?
Not really. He's for a lot of we've kind of avoided him. Not purposely, just like he doesn't necessarily show up in a lot of the stuff that we have reviewed. So maybe it would be a good reason to go and look at the best and go through his career and talk about him and stuff like that. So we'll probably do that this week. We wanted to do a SummerSlam review, so we will be doing SummerSlam 01 in about a week or so. And then in a few weeks, we're going to Redemption, but then it's Shark Week. So we got to think of a shark movie to do. We got some good pods coming up in the next few weeks. So best match ever, Jeff Jarrett. Let us know. What's your favorite Jeff Jarrett match or moment or anything? Because we'll talk about it over on our Patreon. But check out our Patreon if you haven't already, because there's tons of shows on there, including best match ever. Tanahashi, Hulk Hogan were some of the recent ones we've done, and so much more. But yeah. Jeff Jarrett, best match ever. Is that something? Are we shooting ourselves in the foot with that one? We'll find out.
Well, we've done worse. We've definitely done worse than that, I think. So I feel we'll be okay.
We've done best match ever, Doink the Clown. So
we have. We've also done. Not Linda McMahon, have we? We did Stephanie McMahon.
Stephanie McMahon.
We did the best match ever, Stephanie McMahon.
Once upon a time. Of course. How could we forget? Yeah. So patreon.com/Poisonrana. If you haven't already, so many podcasts, $5. Check us out. We're there for you. All those pods for your entertainment. But if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, hit that download. Drop a comment in the YouTube if you haven't already, and check out some of our reels on our social media. Shout out Seren, helping us out with some of the great content that we've been pumping out on our Instagram and our TikTok. So if you haven't given us a follow or checked us out already, go check us out at Poisonrana Pod. We've been posting some fun stuff, and all the little likes and comments go such a long way. So appreciate all the frogs and friends out there. We have one more piece of business before jumping into wrestling talk, and it involves some wrestling. If you're in the Toronto area and you want to slam this summer, wait, I feel like I shouldn't say it that way. SummerSlam Toronto Watch Party, August 1st and 2nd, Saturday and Sunday night at National in the Well, downtown Toronto. Poisonrana, Davie and I are going to be hosting a 2-night watch party. We're talking Cody versus Punk, Oba versus Brock, and so much more. We got the wrestling on all the screens. We got wrestling drink specials, great food, some crazy prizes, including some replica belts that we've now got to give away, including Austin vests and all the fun stuff that we normally do. But we haven't done one since WrestleMania, but it was a crazy weekend with two nights back to back, and a lot of people have been asking for it. So we give the people what we want here at Poisonrana, and we're doing 2 nights of SummerSlam. Go to poisonrana.ca for links and information on our tickets, but very excited to watch.
Yeah, really excited for this one. It's been a little while since we did a last one, and I know not only have like listeners and people that have attended these events been asking when are we doing one, but I know staff at the National as well have gone, hey, when you're next doing one of them, we want to work it. They're fun.
Yeah.
So we hope to pack the place. Don't leave it too late getting tickets. We do have a little combo option as well to save you some money if you are around to come both nights. But we'll be there. The gang will be there. We'll have it on all the screens, lots of prizes, drink specials, and a lot of fun. The good thing is with these WWE pay-per-views, with all these commercials, when we host these live events, is we have a whole lot of downtime to talk to you, which is always fun to do. So for the sake of watching at these events, like, I welcome the commercials.
Yeah, because it gives us time to like do some, schmoozing, talking. We pull out
Yeah.
prizes. We do little trivia games sometimes. We try to fit in little bits and bobs to have some fun. And watching WWE pay-per-views with a giant bar full of passionate fans is the way I like to watch. Like, you can tell when something is shit, like night 1 of WrestleMania, everyone in the bar is on the same page. When it's great, like night 2, everyone's like, whoa, this is so much, but this is great. Like, it's good time. Like, there's nothing wrong with watching wrestling by yourself. I do it quite often, just like this morning when I was watching some G1, we'll talk about, and some Collision. But sometimes when you're watching these big events with a giant group of people, it really adds to it. If you can't be there live, it's the next best thing is to watch it with some friends and people getting into it and everything. So Poisonrana.ca for links of everything, including tickets and info for our SummerSlam watch party. Very excited about that. Very excited about SummerSlam. We'll talk about all the build and lead up. It's only a few weeks away. We got now SummerSlam to look forward to. We got Redemption to look forward to. All in about a month or so sometime. So tons of wrestling this summer. We got 2 new champions. CM Punk WWE champ, Kenny Omega AEW champ. This summer is summer of graps.
Three. You've got you had Takeshita dropping to Fletcher as well.
That's right. Yeah,
like,
we got new champions. 2 new champions.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say like the Impact champion or something changed hands, and I was like, come on.
I have no idea who the Impact champion is right now.
Gun to your head right now. Who's the TNA World Champion?
Okay, TNA World Champion is is it?
Trigger's getting pulled right now.
Frankie Kazarian.
What? Of all people?
He was in like the last year.
Don't lie to me. I mean, I think he was.
Fuck.
I think
Nick
I
Nemeth,
think
I
I think it's Nick Nemeth, but I could be wrong. We both just died right now. That gun was I think it is him. I think it is Dolph.
It is Nick Nemeth. Yes. Okay.
Wow.
He defeated Mike Santana at Slammiversary like a couple of weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Who's going to take it from him? Top Dollar?
Sure, why not?
Probably.
He draws the best quarter hours, I read.
Right, yeah. Well, where do you want to begin today with our wrestling talk?
I think start with AEW this week. I think we did WWE last week, and we did talk a little bit about the CM Punk title win on Tuesday's Up Next, which if you haven't listened to yet, you can go back and either watch on the Post Wrestling YouTube or listen to on the Post Wrestling podcast feed. We talked all about CM Punk and Sami Zayn, but we had AEW Beach Break this week with a huge main event. Kenny Omega defeating MJF for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in a classic.
Yeah, and it was for free on TV. I love Tony Khan's recent words about this. He goes, sometimes people can't afford pay-per-view, so I want to give them quality wrestling for free on TV. I'm like, wow, what a stand-up guy, that TK. He's like, you know what? Here's a pay-per-view match for free on TV. And oh boy, it felt like a pay-per-view match. I mean, we were at Dynasty, Kenny Omega versus MJF. And you know what? That was an awesome main event where MJF retained. But I would say this TV match was just a step better. Like just a little bit better because of the whole added stake of like, if Kenny loses, he won't be champion. The fact that this is the third time these two have fought and Kenny has lost twice. The fact that you had this, what seemed like a hot crowd that like every single person in Clearwater on that beach, which looked great, was behind Kenny. It felt like this classic babyface versus heel story. And on top of that, if you're not just rooting for Kenny to be champion again with this whole story, you're secretly deep down rooting, well, if Kenny wins, then we get Omega Ospreay at Wembley. So really, you're like, yes, please. You had Ospreay coming out during this match like, yo, Kenny, for the love of God, please win this match so I can fight you at Wembley. So there was a few different elements added into this, and I loved it. This has got to be one of the best television matches of the year, or TV matches in a long time. But on top of that, it just felt like a it felt like a good moment of like, yeah, this reminded me of like, watching wrestling as a kid, and there was this big title match, and the title changed hands. Like I said, a pay-per-view worthy moment or match that was on a weekly TV episode. So I think front to back, this is one of the better Dynamites. Beach Break was a solid. It felt like a main event, but a pay-per-view, but on TV. So I just loved seeing Kenny and MJF had some great matches in the past, those two, but this one really stepped it up. It elevated, and it had the storytelling in it of like, you just wanted to see Kenny win. So yeah, I really got into this.
Kenny
really
only wins the title on TV. He refuses to even challenge for the title on pay-per-view. Like, yeah, it's weird. I think so many things worked for this, and going into this match, like last week, talking about it when it was announced, you're going, okay, you've got the stipulation, will like Kenny never to challenge again. And I think, but we also know this Redemption pay-per-view is coming up. So you're going, well, what are they doing there? Is this going to be one of those matches to set up the bigger match? Are we going to get a time limit draw or does Kenny win via DQ, which means Max retains, but Kenny won, so he doesn't never challenge again. And I think we're going through all those scenarios in our head, which fuels all these like big kickouts and stuff in this match. And I even thought I like the touch of throughout the show having the interactions with Kenny, Ospreay, and MJF. And I think when MJF and Ospreay had that moment outside with MJF spitting at him and stuff, in that moment I'm going, oh, maybe that is the match at Wembley. Like, they're really heating up it. Like, you can see that moment being in the video package for the main event with the spit to the face and the big pull apart outside and just making MJF this absolute despicable heel. So you're biting on that. And then I think the 1 count can sometimes be overdone, but when done right, like I think, say what you will about him, but I thought Tommy Dreamer made some very good points about this match from what I heard on Bus. I know, I was surprised, but he was saying like that kick out was the equivalent of, hulking up. And think like at WrestleMania 18, when you think he's down and out and he's doing the no sell and the Hulk and all that. And to have it timed so perfectly with the like dick punch belt shot, where you think, oh, how many times have we seen MJF win that way? And especially with things that have these big stipulations as well, to save the one, like kick out on one for then, and being it's like Kenny in his like last breath, his dying moments is like, no, this is my one last chance. You hear this crowd just go up a few decibels and it's raucous and everyone's standing. And like, I've got goosebumps thinking about it now. We had some pals over and were watching it and we're like standing and like, holy shit, this is great. And then, definitive 3V triggers, 1 winged angel, clean, 1, 2, 3. I thought they crafted this match and the whole story of the show long story that built this match so well. And then immediately after, if there's not any doubt, they just throw up the graphic of that is your All in London, Wembley main event. Montreal, I'm sorry, but like, we got to shift tickets. We got to tell the people what this match is. It is Omega versus Ospreay. They still keep saying in like little parentheses, like, as it still stands, but we know this is the match. They're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna fuck around with this at this point, which makes Redemption very tricky to book. But as this is a standalone night and a build to this, fantastic stuff.
I think the 1 count needs to be retired from everyone else. I watched the G1, which we'll get into, and like, Takeshita might be the son of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, but he shouldn't be doing the 1 count, especially only a few days, because he did it in the G1 match with Tsuji, and I'm like, Takeshita, I know your dad gave you that move, but I don't think anyone else. I like all the talk. You got
to save it for the big match, right? Like, you can't like just do it every match. Yeah,
any like wrestling has brought me a lot of joy, and that's why I'm a fan, and that's why we podcast about it, and that's why we love this stuff. We all love it for multiple reasons. But I'll tell you, like, I've been lucky enough to watch The Rock wrestle live. I've been lucky enough to see The Undertaker. I've been lucky enough to see a lot of insane moments and matches in my time of going to wrestling. But when I just think of that kick out of the one-winged angel in Toronto, Forbidden Door 2023, Ospreay Omega, when he did the kick out on one, when Ospreay hit him with the, like, talking about the goosebumps, like, that is just a moment that, like, I can think about it and put myself back in that seat where everyone jumped out of their seat and froze like a moment at a time. And that's kind of how I felt watching this week's episode of Dynamite, where Kenny did the kick out on one. And, you know, I can sometimes, you know, because you've been my roommate for a long time in the past, and we've watched a lot of wrestling at home while sitting on your couch. You can rate matches by the end of it if I'm jumping out of my seat literally at home, being like, oh, like hands on my head, like, holy shit, I bought that. He was done and he kicked out on one. I thought there was some great storytelling here with this classic bad guy versus good guy, and Kenny wins. And it just felt like this great moment. And then we get the match graphic of a rematch that I've been dying to see. So this week really hit on so many levels, and it looks like it helped shift some tickets. Like, I know they've been doing whether it's a buy one get
sale,
one or a 50% off, which of course, I also see that pissing some people off, because once again, you are telling the real diehard fans, the loyal people who buy day one, don't buy day one, because if you wait, we'll probably put them on sale. So I totally understand the other flip side, but seeing this match graphic thrown up and seeing people that maybe actually have bought some tickets to go see this match, this is the biggest match you can do in AEW. Yeah. Like, this is the rematch that we've been dying to see for so long. So I thought Beach Break was awesome, but Kenny winning, like, just felt like this great big moment that I think will go down as one of the best Dynamite moments, AEW moments, for quite a long time. But that was such a great match.
Much added to this as well, not just the, like, the storytelling we were talking about, but this setting, the humidity that they kept on talking about, which at times you could really feel it coming through the screen, right? Like, you got those shots during daylight, like when we're having Jericho and Ciampa, and I think they did a good job doing a plunder match early, so you could kind of explore the grounds a bit and see how cool and different this venue looked. But the constant like going for water from all these the hydration breaks, if you will,
break.
They looked hot, and I think that added to this main event where you've got Kenny, who, his body's breaking down, the diverticulitis. You've got MJF with his recent knee injury, and just during commercial breaks, like, dousing themselves with water to look like, which made them look sweatier and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And added to this fatigue they're playing throughout the match. And then even Kenny at one point, like, I don't know if he got like sand in his eye or something, but he's like really blinded in one eye at one point, and he's trying to clear it. And I thought all those little touches made it feel quite unique compared to any other sort of TV show they've done.
Yeah, I thought it was great. It makes you want to watch the next. Like, the storytelling here is good, because you don't know what they are playing. Like, clearly they show you Ospreay and Omega. Okay, that should be the match for All In. And it's crazy. I feel like for a year we've been kind of banging that drum of like, hey, we should do that again. We should do that match again. It would be good if we got the rubber match in this series for AEW with these two, like, killers here. And I'm happy that we are, at this point, we are going this. I don't know if we're going to add that and make it a triple threat. I don't think we're going to mess around with that at this point. So I am thinking that it's just going to be Ospreay and Omega one-on-one. Makes total sense. It's a match I definitely want to be in the building for. So I think maybe some other fans feeling the same way. You ask any Toronto fan who was at Forbidden Door 23, everyone raves about that match still. So that's That's something like if I hadn't booked already, which I did just the other week, which I kind of knew, I was like, they have to do this match. This would be the match that makes me go, okay, should I go on a little vacation? Should I go watch this? Because you gotta witness some of this stuff live, and yeah, this one's gonna be incredible. But I loved this match. Kenny Omega, MJF. MJF had an insane run in 2026. When the dust is settled, he's got to be wrestler of the year. Like just some of the stuff this guy's done on week in, week out of not only like incredible championship runs that he's had, but the matches, the moments, like he did what he was set out to do a few years ago. And then we were like riddled with injuries and Adam Cole and all that devil bullshit. This is the final form MJF, and he's on the top of his game. If not the best wrestler right now, just up there. Like he's done everything in AEW at this point. I don't know what his all-in match is going to be, but I got to give MJF all the flowers. Like he is so entertaining to watch, and I love watching him get his ass kicked. So he does his job extremely well. So all the power to him. What's his match? Is it Hangman at All In? Is it Mick Foley?
Yeah, like
you know,
like let's maybe think about redemption and think where we're going with some of these things, because it makes it very difficult for like you ideally would like to see Kenny defend this title before assuming he drops it to Ospreay, but then it makes any challenger a bit of a lame duck, doesn't it? Now, Kevin Knight has already kind of thrown his name in the hat, right? He was going to challenge MJF. He did say, I will be facing whoever. I think that's something you could do on TV, Kevin Knight, Kenny Omega. But I don't think he needs to be defending the title at the pay-per-view because no one's going to be buying it. So I wonder if we're going to get some sort of, Ospreay and Omega tagging to take on MJF and someone or something like that to just, something that could be a fantastic match, but no one's going to buy the stakes of Kenny dropping this title before All In at this point, which is a difficulty with them booking it.
Last week I did bring that up, and I think I said, like, hey, what are the chances if Kenny wins this, they're hot-shotting this to move things along faster? I think everyone just assumed redemption would be MJF losing to Kenny, and then that sets up the match. But maybe they move this along quicker to show you the graphic, to maybe sell some tickets to Wembley, which totally makes sense. It just kind of does leave us out for Montreal, which also hasn't necessarily sold the best. I think if they did that show in Toronto, I think it'd almost be doubled the tickets sold at this point. So don't expect a big sellout for that pay-per-view. But could you break glass in case of emergency? Okada beat Omega last year, a year ago today, actually, and you could just do that match to get Omega gets his win back, gets one title defense, and then goes on to All In. Because another story has been they've kind of been cold on Okada, so you could just throw that in there. You do have Kevin Knight, who kind of said, hey, MJF, you promised me you owe me a title shot. You also had Kenny tell Speedball, hey, if I win, I'll give you a title shot. Now, I know it's Montreal, but I don't know if Speedball is going to be given the main event against Kenny Omega at the Bell Center. I mean, that'd be crazy for him and be an awesome match, I'm sure. We've seen it in PWG, but I don't know if any of those make sense. And there's only 2 weeks away, and we have one match announced for this Montreal show.
I almost feel it's worth doing something just a little different to, do like a crazy 5-man scramble or something like that. Like Kenny's winning this match regardless. So why not just make it, do all of them? Kevin Knight, Speedball, Andrade, MJF and Kenny, just in some wacky match or something. It is really hard to book. And I think you're completely right. They needed to move these ticket sales. We need to know what the main event is so people can decide, am I going to Wembley or not to see this show? And I think you can use redemption to set up all these other stories. You know, Hangman returned on Collision and saying, you know, I can't go for the world title anymore, but there's a lot of other titles in this company I can go for. So kind of setting his path again. Will he go after MJF for revenge? I think that is a very easy, quick match you could book for All In. Okada at Redemption, I think like if you're doing that match again, it should be a bit of a bigger stage than that. And I don't think anyone's expecting to get Okada v Ospreay, and they haven't really been in each other's orbit for a little bit. So I don't know. It is a tough one, I think, this Redemption show.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, again, I've been loving the storytelling that they've been doing, especially with this year of MJF being the champion and having this like rogues gallery of like everyone gunning for the title makes for such way more interesting TV. But now you've done it. You've beaten him. You've had this turnaround in the story. Like, the story resets with Kenny beating him. So does he need to defend the title at Redemption? It would be great if he was on the show, because you want to, again, sell some tickets and have a Canadian superstar, your champion, on the pay-per-view. So honestly, that, like, doing one title defense and having it be Okada just comes to mind because he beat Kenny last year. But you could do something with there's a story with Moxley and Ospreay. Like, hey, I got you to the top of the mountain. Now what? Or MJF still wanting a rematch. Like, there's a few different avenues we could go to. We have 2 weeks of Dynamite before Redemption, and thus far only one match announced for Montreal. So I don't know, unless Tony's got something up his sleeve here, some plans.
Do you think, like, in hindsight, Omega should have maybe won the title at Dynasty and had it sort of feel more? I mean, obviously you're losing that whole great Darby run and stuff like that, but the titles have been hot-shotted around a lot this past year, which I'm not completely against, because in general they've done pretty long title reigns, so it is shaking up their formula, and I think it has worked. So, like, you look at WWE during its peak in the Attitude Era, it was flip-flopping all the time, and I think in recent years we've come off all these long title reigns, like MJF's, like Okada's in New Japan, like Roman Reigns is in WWE, that you're conditioned for that to be how it is. And I think it does, you know, thinking right back from Joe winning the title and how it's flip-flopped around since then, really. But would it have made this Ospreay match feel bigger if Omega had this run since Dynasty? And maybe, you know, you've already got the graphic up there, but now you're peaking with Redemption of MJF versus Omega, and you're just throwing that seed of doubt that it could be MJF going to Wembley to face Ospreay, rather than this very quick, like, couple of week turnaround that we've been having.
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't go with Kenny in Dynasty if this was the game plan for a while, to go to Ospreay Omega for Wembley. But maybe they were like, we want to do Darby MJF. They had New York with Double or Nothing. It's almost like maybe if it was switched, that, like, if you did Dynasty after Double or Nothing, then you could have done the title switch. Obviously in Canada would have made sense. But yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe injuries. Maybe Kenny wasn't necessarily great. MJF with his knee. Like, I don't know.
I was going to say maybe as well, like similar to when Danielson held the title, it's kind of this thing where it goes, I've probably got like 3 big singles matches in me. Like, let's spread them out a little bit rather than doing defending every other week in big matches. So perhaps there's that. But
like, I imagine
interesting, and it makes it interesting TV for sure.
It has when you don't know, like, you're like, hey, where are things going to go? Is it going to be this match? It's great knowing that this is the match for Wembley, because I do think that is, just personally, a match that is like, yeah, I want to watch that. As simple as that. So I don't know where we go with Redemption. We have some stories, like, where are we going with Moxley? MJF, is he going to be upset at Ospreay? Ospreay came out in the Hangman's position. Everyone thought Hangman was returning to cost MJF. Instead, it was just Will being like, nah, you're not cheating to beat Kenny again, and stopped him. So therefore, MJF would probably have some grievances with Ospreay. You could do Ospreay MJF at Redemption.
Yeah.
The pay-per-view is called Redemption. Hey, Ospreay, you cost me my belt. Therefore, how about you put your shot on the line and give me my Wembley main event or something like that, right? Like, I'm not sure, but I would imagine Speedball is booked in a match. I'm not saying against Kenny for the world title, but I would like to see him featured in a big match for that pay-per-view. I think that would be pretty cool. It's weird they haven't announced as many matches. Like, this time next week, we're going to have like 16 matches announced or something like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it is different for them to like not have a whole lot out there. And I'm not sure where we are going, but I am interested. Again, after this Beach Break episode, I was very, very excited to see where we go with some of these shows and matches.
Yeah, shall we talk a bit more about the other matches on Beach Break? Maybe go back to the beginning with
I do gotta say,
Jericho and Ciampa.
Like before, like I also loved the gear that MJF and Kenny wore. They looked great. MJF had this like Bam Bam Bigelow inspired kind of colors, and Kenny had this like Kenny was wearing like almost like Dragon Ball Z, but like Golden Lovers inspired gear as well, which was pretty cool. So I thought both of them looked pretty good. And shout out Kenny doing a moonsault off that beach, Baywatch type beach chair, which was pretty impressive.
Mercedes seat, yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, what else was on this show?
Well, we started with Jericho and Ciampa in. I thought this was pretty fun. These two, I thought it was perfect placement on the show to like just get people going, and as I said, gave them an excuse to kind of show off this really unique venue. But I thought it was pretty good, and I really like what they've been doing with Ciampa, and I'm glad he won here. And I thought the sand to the eyes was a great way to like lead to the finish in this one, because you see him reaching for the bucket, and you expect it's just going to be like a weapon shot to break the walls of Jericho, but it was the sand, which I thought was a great touch. But yeah, the power drill thing is still a little bit too much for me. And then he couldn't even pop a balloon with it at the end. So
right. Yeah. It's funny that the last few weeks, this guy's teasing straight up murder with a power tool in wrestling, and it's just, we're okay. Everybody's okay with this. Like, he has tried to put it to a man's temple, like at least twice in the last 2 weeks. Like, if I'm Tony Khan, kayfabe wise, Ciampa, hey man, I know you're new here, but you know, needles, plastic bags, those are okay. Power tools, a little pushing
power
the
tools,
edge.
scissors, anything that you're like threatening stabbing the brain with, I'm a little bit like, come
but
on.
we've had needles, but drills, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
I don't know where we go with Ciampa, but I did enjoy this. I thought Jericho looked pretty good in there with him, and I was actually pleasantly surprised with this match. I don't know where we go with Jericho, but I think for like an all-in like casino gauntlet kind of thing, like him being in that, I think with Ciampa maybe even if you're continuing this feud, but he beat Jericho pretty easily.
You're gonna have to try and tell that one last run story with Jericho at some point. And I think Jericho has deliberately not gone there yet, because he's like, I don't think it is my last run yet, you know, but eventually, he's going to need that little like push. It's like my last time going for the title, that sort of thing. But it's not as interesting anymore. The people he's kind of faced everyone there. There aren't many things. And I was just glad to see Ciampa get a big win. And I think the role he's been in, which is, you know, a bit of a Roderick Strong, you know, TV, like great TV matches. And I think come the Continental Classic later in the year, he's absolutely someone you'd put in there, because he'd mix it up great with anyone. But I think you can have some more mid-card title runs with Ciampa. Like a Ciampa Hangman match would be something I'd be very much into at some point.
Nice. Oh, there's so many opponents that are fresh for Ciampa since coming into AEW. Now, Jericho wasn't necessarily on the top of my list when it came to that, but it was still something fresh. I'm sure that was probably a dream come true for him to have a match in a feud with someone he grew up watching. So that's pretty cool. But I know that there's got to be some like hard hitters, like your national championship, like your lower mid card guys to your international, we did the Fletcher match, but like people in that kind of, you know, ballpark where Ciampa can match their freak when it comes to hitting hard and hitting strong kind of vibes. So yeah, I am interested to see where we go with Ciampa. I don't know if like a main championship main event kind of level, but I do see him doing pretty well. And like I said, these mid card, I think again the Casino Gauntlet would be a great spot for him, where he comes in and has these mini matches with all these different types of people. So could be something to look forward to.
I mean, post All In, a TV title match, like,
Sure.
or eliminator match against Ospreay would be great.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Don't necessarily want to see him as these, these like pay-per-view title matches, but I think for big TV matches can be awesome.
We had a pay-per-view match on TV for free. I'm not just talking about MJF and Kenny, but we had the International Championship on the line. Konosuke Takeshita, the champion, defending against his former best friend, Kyle Fletcher. We had Fletcher come out in all pink, of course, but with his pink Oni mask, kind of teasing Takeshita, like, hey, I got my own mask here, but it's pink. And then Takeshita comes out with his broken Phantom of the Opera-esque mask here, showing like, look what you did to me, in his all white. This match was crazy. My only critique is we didn't get to watch this live in Montreal. I think we should just run it back. But Fletcher pinned him just like that.
I think we've both been a little dumb, completely forgetting the G1's happening and Takeshita's in the G1. So we're not going to be getting Takeshita at Redemption. So once this match ended, it kind of all fell down on me, where I'm like, oh, of course, Takeshita's going away for a month. So doing the title switch here still keeps the story a little bit alive. You now have him as sort of the ace of the Don Callis family. So you can, while Takeshita's away, build up that maybe animosity with Okada as we move towards All In.
I like this match, don't get me wrong. I think I could watch Fletcher and Takeshita wrestle for an hour straight and probably not be bored. Watch them wrestle for 2 hours. Like, they're fantastic. Two of the best, pound for pound, two of the best wrestlers going in today. My only gripe was like they delivered an awesome match on TV, which again felt like a pay-per-view match, but it felt like they were holding back. It felt like there was like the next gear to it. And then we do the most basic cookie cutter distraction, which allows Fletcher to win. So it was just like, okay, after the whole year of Takeshita chasing that dragon of Okada, that monkey on his back that he couldn't get, and then he did it. I'd say the one fumble that Tony Khan has had this year is Takeshita. Is this little story here. I thought at Double or Nothing, when Fletcher turned, you had Takeshita finally beat him. First of all, you finally got the match. And then he finally beat Okada. And then you had this great moment where Fletcher turns on his best friend. Then they dropped the ball completely with that storyline. I think that had to be one of my favorite stories, feuds going in wrestling. And it was dropped like a bad habit. It was just dropped. Like, no reference. Takeshita was so upset that his friend did this that he didn't show up on TV for weeks and then decided to join the conglomeration in a pay-per-view cage match. Like, what? That doesn't make sense at all. So, TK, been doing great work, but in all honesty, dropped the ball. Maybe it does have to do with Takeshita not being there. Why would you put some steam into a story where a player's not there? So, I get it, but
I think it is also difficult with Takeshita's English, you know, especially as a babyface. Like a heel can rely on Don Callis doing the talking for him, but being in that babyface role and having, like, you assume this story is peaking at All In, whether it's a triple threat, a singles match, whatever. There's a lot of time to tell that story. And I think it was probably just easier to have, oh, my guys are fighting with your guys, and your guys also includes Kyle, who fucked me over, so I'll join your team. I think it was just the easier option. Otherwise, like, I agree, like, it did feel cold, but I'm also thinking, how do you book Takeshita in this role for 2.5 months to build up? Is it just video packages with him speaking and subtitles every week?
Or, I kind of want to call bullshit on that. Like, Tony Khan could have had Takeshita come out the Wednesday after he won, and been like, you know, in 5 words or less, 1 word, 2 words, Kyle Fletcher,
fuck you,
I'm mad at you. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah,
but he didn't do that. Like, Tony Khan, whenever a champion wins at a pay-per-view, that story's done. It like, AEW has been going since 2019. I could probably count, like, every time a championship has changed hands, world championship, the story kind of feels cold the week after because they're not quite sure, like, that chapter has ended. That episode is over. And they kind of dropped the ball on, I think of when Hangman's won the title twice. They didn't know what to do on the TV after.
Yeah.
That instantly comes to mind. I feel the exact same way after that Double or Nothing story where Fletcher turned on him. This should be the biggest, like, he should be furious. He should start the show and go, hey, my English isn't great, but Fletcher, I'm pissed at you. We didn't even get that. We didn't even get Takeshita being upset or emotional. And I think that just showed, as someone who's, like, again, I think that's been my favorite feud in the last year, and you just let it fizzle out and be forgotten about. So I will say that was a fumble for me this year. I hope they can get back on track. And I think you're right. It probably has to do with the G1. Like, why are we investing in this character in this story if this guy's gonna be gone for like 2 months? Sure, but that was 2 months ago. You could have done that. Like, you could have, you know, finished that story a few months ago. So I do feel like that's a little bit weird that Takeshita won the title and then did nothing with it and then lost it to Fletcher. And then now he's not even going to be on TV to continue this story. So I hope we can go back to that. If anything, maybe that should just be all in is Takeshita Fletcher one more time. If not, adding Okada into that mix. I know you really want to see that triple threat, which I'm sure could be good. It just, as much as, again, Fletcher, Takeshita, 2 of my favorites, maybe my 2 favorites to watch. It just felt like Fletcher just beat him, and now it's like, well, now what? Now what do we do? Now it's just we move on, and Fletcher goes and has this run. So that was a little head scratching for me of like, oh, that's not how I thought that story was going to play out. You just kind of moved past it. Makes sense with this G1. Takeshita's got to go job out to whoever
I feel
else
it's just on ice for a little bit.
Yeah,
like, I think they'll pick it back up when and maybe, like, I think this will be picked back up down the line, and probably when Takeshita, a surprise return from Takeshita costing Kyle the title, perhaps, or something.
You could do that, or just showing up being like, hey, you did cheat to beat me technically with that distraction, so, like, I want a rematch. And I'd be okay with it if you did it at Redemption. I'd be okay with it at All In even. I just do feel like the like, oh, well, his English isn't good. It's like, that could be a reason, but you just have a guy come out and be like, hey, Fletcher, I'm not done with you. That's all he needs. He doesn't need to say a whole lot. He just needs to say something, and not even having him show up on weeks of TV made me think that they just blew away from this character, and it does show that kind of thing. So I hope I'm making sense. Like, I love Takeshita and Fletcher, and I'm somehow I wasn't disappointed with the wrestling, but I'm somehow disappointed with how we've just moved away from this story. I saw a fantastic tweet. I'm blanking on who it was from, but the storyline, Fletcher in interviews on Wednesday was like, I think even after he beat Takeshita, he was like, oh, I was never his friend. I was never his buddy. Me and him were never close. We were just coworkers, and like, that was it, and everything like that. He kept reiterating, like, we're not friends or whatever. And I saw this tweet from Black Girl Wrestling, great Twitter account. She says, and I quote, Kyle Fletcher saying him and Takeshita were never best friends. Mind you, the whole time they were telling people that they were married. Remember, all men lie. Because remember, he was saying, "Oh, I'm married to this guy. We're together."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "He wasn't my friend. You fucking bastard." So, run it back at All In, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
We also had Willow winning the Women's Casino Gauntlet match and will be going on to face Tekla at Redemption. I think we kind of predicted where things are going on last week's show, but we still in the same mind that Willow beats Tekla for the title to get more of a clear heel babyface dynamic with Mercedes at All In.
Yeah, I feel two ways about this. Like, it sucks that Willow was injured because I think she was meant to win the Owen tournament and go on to face Tekla, I think. I'm not sure. But then she got hurt, and then we had her return, and then she won this thing. So now we have Willow versus Tekla in Montreal, but then Mercedes faces the winner at All In. Yeah. So you could do Mercedes Tekla, which I think for the last few weeks, that was what people were thinking. And then you realize, well, they're both heel. How would that dynamic work? Whereas it makes way more sense to just do Willow and Mercedes at All In. But after watching drunk Tekla on commentary, I'm now just like, yeah, all that's cool. When's Tony coming back? Because when can we get drunk Tekla and Tony Storm promo battles? That's where the money is at. But I digress, I guess. But
yeah, we've no idea what's going on with Tony, and Tony Khan's been very quiet about it as well. So no idea. I think Mercedes and Willow being a singles match works because it's a little clearer, babyface heel, but it also feels a little bit backwards because it would mean Willow going in as champion with Mercedes challenging her and Mercedes challenging for the title she hasn't won yet. So the dynamic feels a little like you really want it Willow chasing Mercedes for that big moment. But I also think the fact that they've post Forbidden Door kept this Tekla versus Stardom thing alive, which almost for Tekla feels a bigger story than her title right now. So I'm wondering if, Tony certainly has ties with Stardom, so that is something you could do. But I feel you're either going to have, Tekla cost at Redemption via someone from Stardom, or we're setting up, I'm thinking Kairi. Kairi's available. That would be a good, okay, Tekla, you've been great. You're not the champion at All In, but this match is kind of as big because it's a bit of a special attraction match where Kairi's coming in to defend the honor of Stardom against this person. And I think maybe that
more like a casino. I don't know about a singles match on All In, but like the casino, those two should easily be in it and have your moment.
You don't think Tekla has a singles match at All In?
I don't think Kairi has a singles match at All In. I think Tekla deserves everything, but we're just assuming. We're just assuming that, someone comes in. But the story has been that she hates Stardom and this and that. Are we just going to move away from that and go back into she's just AEW champion? I do imagine we get a title change at Redemption, but I don't know. Is it too crazy to just do?
Do you get Saya Kamitani, or do not enough people know who that is? But that would be a killer match as well.
Yeah. I just don't know if you're gonna give a one of these Stardom people a big singles match at your big pay-per-view when there's
New Japan wrestlers.
There's 30 people on the show that would be like, hey, I've been wrestling here for 5-7 years. Why am I not getting a match like that? I just imagine if you do bring in these Stardom or New Japan stars for this is for the casino gauntlet thing when it comes to All In. That's where you would do these mini matches in there to continue it. I don't know if there's a hot, since Wednesday, I think I'd rather Mercedes Tekla at All In than Willow. I know that sounds crazy considering I'm also just a huge Willow fan. I don't think it's the right move to just go with her and beat Tekla.
I
think
just-
Tekla's been done a great job, and I think heel versus heel Mercedes Tekla would be a little bit more interesting at this point. I don't know. Am I wrong for saying that? Again, big Willow fan here. I would love to be in the building and have Willow win the belt. Love to be there for that. But
I think if you knew you were going with Mercedes versus Tekla, I think there's a way easier way of getting there where the dynamics make a whole lot of sense. You know, Mercedes has come back from this long hiatus. She dropped all the titles back to the indie promotions, which I think earned her a lot of goodwill from fans. I think people saw, wow, Mercedes really cares about wrestling and she does care about giving back. And I think her coming in, like returning as a babyface, wanting to win the Owen, and also being like, hey, you know, I spent some time in Stardom. And like, that's what, like when I left, when I was depressed and pissed off with the other company, I left and I went there and they rehabbed me. And now I'm in AEW and I want to prove that I'm the best women's wrestler. I think you build to a much easier babyface v heel dynamic at Wembley for those two. And I feel the fact that they haven't gone that way is leading me to think that it unfortunately isn't Tekla in that match, unless we get to a three-way with all three of them somehow, which is an option. But I think Tony Khan could be looking at, you know, the most women's matches he's had on an All-In before with this pay-per-view, and I think you could spread the wealth a little bit. Mercedes and Willow already have a lot of history. You can still save Tekla and Mercedes for another time down the road, but building, I feel he probably still has something big for Tekla up his sleeve. And, you know, I bring up the Stardom thing just because, you know, he's not been afraid of just booking the bigger matches in the past. He was booking, I mean, I know Ospreay's another level, but he's been booking Ospreay matches way before Ospreay was signed with AEW. And yes, I understand your point about talent being disgruntled, but if you're the businessman, am I putting Tekla against, again, a Kairi or a Saya Kamitani, or are you putting her against Anna Jay? You know, it's, or no disrespect, but I think there are bigger stars and it does fit the story she's been telling.
It does. It just
like Casino Gauntlet just feels below her, I think.
But at Casino, like no one, I don't think you're going to be putting Stardom wrestlers in big marquee matches on a show like that. I just even if it's Kairi Sane, which I know I joked about months and months ago, as soon as she was let go, I'm like, oh, well, then the Stardom storyline, like that could make sense. But like, she gonna be in the ring with Tekla? How is that gonna go in 2026? Standalone singles match. Like, I don't know. But again, I am here now saying I just think Tekla should just stay champion all the way through. But I don't know what a Mercedes Tekla heel versus heel dynamic, like who's gonna be the bigger bitch in this storyline, because both of them are just this over the top heel character. Like, I don't know if you watched Collision. I managed to watch some of it last night, and Tekla basically cut a promo on Mercedes, and it was fucking insane what she said, by the way. She said, you've seen what I've done to presidents, wait till you see what I do to CEOs, and then does finger guns. Shout out Luigi Mangione. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? This bitch saying she's gonna kill her? So maybe that is the match at All In. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think if you did do heel versus heel, I think Tekla would be the babyface in that feud. Just, I guess, doesn't need to change anything, but just out of popularity, I feel people would lean towards Tekla. But then you're left with, what are you doing with Willow? You know?
Yeah.
Maybe the three-way is the way to go. And
I don't know about that either. But again, I love Willow. I love Mercedes. These are three. I think all three women are absolutely killing it. So they're top for me. Like, I know Willow's been out, but like we've been waiting for her story to be done, and I don't know if it's necessarily yet.
I also wonder, like Tekla made that point about, was she even injured? And part of me is questioning, like, she wasn't out for long, right? And did she really need to drop the TBS title if it was just this injury that was only for a few weeks?
Sure, yeah.
Was this a cleaner way of just getting that title off of her to move her into the world title picture.
I don't know if they would have done it that way, but yeah. I don't know. What's the bigger match? Do you agree with us? Disagree out there? Is it Tekla versus Mercedes at All In? Is it Willow versus Mercedes? What is the match? I guess we'll have to see come Montreal when it's Willow versus Tekla 1-on-1. But yeah, I love
injured
Tekla
for 5 weeks by the look of it.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe something happened, but I loved Tekla on commentary. We need more of that. Drunk Tekla on commentary. We need more of that, I think. I mentioned Kyle Fletcher. I'm talking about Kyle Fletcher possibly fighting Takeshita at All In. Maybe it's Fletcher versus Mick Foley at All In, considering the segment after Fletcher won. And Mick Foley comes out, and then Andrade comes out in. You mentioned this was really hot out. This was outside in Clearwater.
Inspector Gadget.
And Andrade comes out with like 7 layers on.
Yeah.
It's like the coat, the vest, the shirt, like, oh my God. He looks good, so I guess we can't front on him. But are we getting Mick Foley and Andrade versus the Don Callis family at some point? I don't know what the point of this was, but Mick Foley coming out on Dynamite. I love to see it, but my brain did go, wait a second, are they going to do Randy Orton Mick Foley, but it's Kyle Fletcher Mick Foley? Fletcher would kill this guy.
It's weird, right? I mean, he did kill Dustin, didn't he? He stabbed him in the knee with a screwdriver, but
Dustin returns? Dustin returns to get revenge on Kyle Fletcher with his old pal Mick. Could do that? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I found these Mick Foley segments strange. So we've had 2 of them now, and both of them have led me to think, oh, mate, MJF doesn't have the title. MJF versus Mick Foley at All In. He's looking a lot slimmer these days, his old Mick. And then you set up this Don Callis family Mick Foley angle, and I'm just wondering, are these actually going anywhere, or is this just, hey, we have Mick Foley, so let's just use him? I really don't know at this point.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to actually have Mick Foley wrestle at Wembley. We've talked about before, like, as fans, sure, it would be great for Mick to have his one last match and his send-off, but, like, should he be doing this is probably the question. Like, is that a good idea for him?
MJF feels like a safer match for Mick than Kyle Fletcher, because
probably. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Fletcher I'm not talking about legit injuries that have happened. I'm just talking stylistically. I think so much of Fletcher's offense is really quick, powerful, dropping on the head, kicks to the face, that kind of thing. So I don't know.
What if it's like some sort of Mick Foley is on someone's team? Right, like, so
Team Foley, Team Don Callis kind of thing,
something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, again, there's 2 sides to that. It's like, yeah, this guy should not be wrestling at all. He should not be getting in the ring, but doing a spot here or there probably won't hurt him. I mean, it will, but I don't know if we're gonna see Mick Foley wrestle. But I don't know. Something's happening. They're doing something with this. So I don't know if it's Don Callis family or not, but yeah. What else from Beach Break? You mentioned Willow winning that. I
think that was it from Beach Break, but we did have the really weird, I thought, return of Hangman on Collision. Like, I don't think this was announced on Dynamite, was it? I think we just got a graphic on the Twitter or whatever, which just seemed a really weird way after, he's been out since March. And yes, they're in Virginia, and Hangman, somewhat hometown, returning. It just felt weird. It's on Collision. It's on like a day's notice via a match graphic, and you feel this would have been a bigger deal. And he basically came out and said, I'm a man of my word. I'm never going to challenge for the AEW Men's World Championship again, and I like gardening. And that was it. And kind of teased like, hey, there's still 100 titles in this promotion that I can fight for. So I don't know. What do you see Hangman's future being?
It was weird considering I think maybe everyone was just assuming that Hangman was going to be the one to come out and help Kenny in his match against MJF, but it was not. It was Ospreay being like, "Nah, I just want to face you because last time we fought, I beat you, Kenny. So that's why I want to face you at Wembley." And it wasn't Hangman, so it was like, okay, cool. And then what? Thursday or Friday, they're like, "Oh, by the way, Hangman's opening Collision." It's like, wait, what? Yeah. What does that have to do? So yeah, it was out of nowhere. And if it was like, "Oh, we're trying to move tickets because it's where he's from," but you're doing it only a day or two before. So like, really?
Yeah,
like,
tell me on TV, on the TV show.
So I know, because I'm sure someone watched and went, "Oh, what? He was supposed to be here?" Okay. So that was weird. And then he comes out. I like that he loves his gardening and his butterfly weed and everything. He cut his hair. Short hair Hangman. Not quite short hair, but like shorter hair Hangman. Considering he had one of the best flows in wrestling. I was sad about that. But it basically, he came out and went, "Oh, I want to face all these other people." So now, do we have Kenny Omega come out on Wednesday and be like, "Fuck you, Hangman, you're facing me for the belt"? Fuck that shit. We're friends. I give you this shot and you have to take it. Is that what we're doing? Because like, what the hell was that? I was very confused with this Hangman promo. So it better lead to something. I just imagine it's MJF Hangman at All In, but judging by this, it's Mark Davis versus Hangman for the national title at All In. I don't know.
It's the easiest match to go to for now is MJF and Hangman. Two big stars. The story's already like set up for you. Put them in a match, and then Hangman afterwards can be going for whatever title or I don't know. I don't see it's been such a like it's been the main story pretty much of AEW since its inception is Hangman's chase for the world title, the main character. So now it is like it is going to be something different. And I think his promo kind of essentially said that. It's like, hey, I don't know. Is this going to work? Is this going to be good?
He ended with, I gotta find something else to do. Is basically, it's like, that's what we've all been fantasy booking.
But his main thing, it's like, it's not really the title. Yes, that's been the main story, but it's about his personal feuds. That's when he's connected the most and had the best matches, right? It's the Moxley stuff, it's the Swerve stuff, and it's the Kenny stuff as well. So, or the tag with the Bucks story as well. It's always been very personal feud. So I think, titles it doesn't matter whether it's TNT, International, Continental, National, ROH, Women's, TBS, Trios, Tag, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're all interchangeable, but I just want to see him, cutting killer promos and having blood feuds with people and hopefully leveling up the people around him as well.
He did say he can't challenge for the men's world title.
Yeah.
So, like, Tekla Hangman at All In.
She'd be into it, I think.
You dumb bitch. Your fucking gardening. And your butterflies. and your haircut. I don't know where we're going with this. I did find it weird, unless they have something, which I'm sure they have a reason for doing this, but it just felt weird. Like, Hangman's been gone for so long, and he comes out and goes, "Yeah, I am not going for the title, and I'm okay with it." It's like, no, you shouldn't be. You should be upset about this. I don't know.
I feel it is something that they can take away at some point, but he does need to honor this stipulation for a couple of years, I would say, before you do have that final shot, like lift the ban, one chance kind of thing. Put my career on the line for the title sort of thing.
So Hangman, who else? Hangman Moxley? Hangman, which we did last year at All In. Hangman, who else are champions? Kyle Fletcher, we saw that when Hangman was champion.
Kevin Knight and Mark Davis.
Kevin Knight, right? Yeah, it was weird. Put him in the Casino Gauntlet match if it's not MJF. At this point,
we need a Casino Gauntlet match on this show? Like, we've just
at All In, we're getting one. We're definitely getting one at All In. We're getting two at All In. So doesn't matter if you want it or not. You're getting it. So and I imagine Hangman's in it. So
probably a stadium stampede and probably a coffin match and probably
death match.
A lot of stuff.
Something. Yeah.
Anything else from Collision you caught?
Yeah, the main event. Mark Davis defending his national title against Speedball Mike Bailey with Kyle Fletcher on commentary, which I thought he was pretty funny. But this match was crazy. There's some insane things in this, including Speedball doing a double moon senton randomly in this match, and Fletcher kicked out of. Davis kicked out of. I thought that was pretty great. Davis just beat the shit out of him, and then Speedball was kicking out of everything, and then finally it was just the pile driver that finally put him to. But that match was nuts. Like if that was on Dynamite, I think a lot of people would be like, "Whoa, that was the show. That was the match on Collision for sure." Speedball losing though, I was like, "Oh, do we do?"
They're
Speedball
building him
Fletcher?
up great for Montreal, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really not. They're really not. Like, if you were to randomly put him in a match with Kenny, you can't because he just lost clean to Davis. And I don't know if he deserves a match against Fletcher, even though I know we've seen that a few times and it's been magic. So, I'm not quite sure what we're doing with some of these characters. Again, there's a few hiccups here. Like, Kevin Knight joining the Don Callis family is weird. Speedball losing to all these guys is weird because that easily should have been the match. Is Kevin Knight and Speedball in Montreal. So, not quite sure about that, but yeah. What about you?
I didn't finish the show. I got up to. I watched the Hangman promo and the what was it, Harley and Shida that followed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens this Wednesday. I'm sure Hangman's got to have something for Montreal, considering he's back. Maybe it's Hangman Kevin Knight in Montreal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the one that makes. Like, if he's going for any of those titles, I mean, Hangman Davis would be a fun match, but I feel Kevin Knight is the guy they're really trying to elevate more. So that would probably make more sense.
Yeah, that's fair. This Wednesday, Kenny Omega's got the championship celebration, and I'm sure we're getting some. What do you think? What are we getting added to Redemption as we kind of finish talking AEW here? What are we getting announced for Redemption if you had to choose? I said Okada, Kenny. What are you thinking?
I'm saying some sort of tag involving Ospreay and Omega is what I'm leaning to. I really don't know. I really can't. Like, we're all sort of booking all in, and it's kind of just this pay-per-view. It's weird placement because we kind of feel ready for all in now. You throw up that match graphic. Now let's just do 6 weeks of TV to build to the big show. It does kind of feel a bit of a weird placement of a pay-per-view, but I really can't call this one.
It feels weird.
Tony Khan sets up a match with like a week to go via some throwaway line backstage a lot of the time. So I think we could get Speedball and Kevin Knight again, but they haven't really built up Kevin Knight well, if that was the intention. And similar to what you said about the whole Takeshita Fletcher thing, he hasn't seemed too mad since his loss to Kevin Knight a few weeks ago.
Yeah, there's a few things like I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? But I'm sure they've got something planned for Montreal. So come Wednesday, they're going to announce like 6 matches because it's literally in 2 weeks and this one match announced. Plus the Rougeau like celebration. Right. Celebrating 80 years of the Rougeau wrestling dynasty at the Bell Center. So we getting PCO on the show?
PCO, yeah, maybe.
El Generico on the show.
Are we getting Sheamus?
True. Sheamus O'Shaughnessy, or what did he change his name to? He changed it to something. His real name?
What's his name? Like Stephen Farrelly, I think, or something like that.
Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. What a great wrestler.
Stephen Farrelly is his real name.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I see him coming into AEW. I don't know if he probably got the 90-day thing. He probably can't make it to All In, right? But if he's let his contract expire, I believe. So so he could
his contract's over, he's free. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because it's not a release, right? It's an end of contract.
So I'd bring him in. Why not? You know, when he was in WWE, his first run, I know we've talked about it on our series, The Champ is Here, where we talked about him beating Cena for the WWE title. But I hated him. He was one of my least favorite wrestlers for a long time. And I'd say in the last like 5 years, whether it be his personality and his character in real life shining through and his social media and seeing how well loved he is and just like a genuine dude he comes across as, on top of like just putting on, as he refers them as, banger after banger after banger, he's really stepped up in my eyes in the last like few years. And I think if he's in the twilight of his career, go out with a bang after bang after bang and put on some matches with some people. Go wrestle your friends. Don't retire. You're huge. Yeah. You're jacked. You're working out. You're still doing all the things that make you happy. Why not continue doing that? And I actually, like, again, I used to fucking hate this guy. And now I'm like, yeah, bring it on. I would love to see you tie it up with Mark Davis and some of these big lads and tag team with Claudio again. And, you know,
yeah.
Like, we need you can't call them the bar, right? We don't just raise the pub. We are the pub.
We are the pub. Yeah.
I don't know what else you could call them, but something there.
But yeah, like I think there's a lot of fun matches. I'm not saying this guy is going to be challenging for the title or anything, but there are some matches where I'm like, that piques my interest a little bit. You know, you mentioned Mark Davis. I think an Ishii match at some point. I think a Fletcher match at some point. Jake Doyle, Okada, even. You know, like I think there's quite a few match graphics where you go, oh, and I believe he's someone that's going to put in the shift as well. So, you know, a Sheamus Moxley match, I think we've probably seen it 100 times.
Shamey and the Death Rider.
Moxley's a completely different person than he was then. So I think there's some fun you can have with Sheamus in AEW. And I think he's always great at those. He's the guy they send out to Europe to go to football games and to talk and sell the product, right? Like like he'd be a guy, if you had him a little earlier, you'd have him doing the Wembley hype rather than the Big Show, I think, because you'd have him go in and hyping it and actually having a match. And people seem to know who Sheamus is, like especially the Irish. Like a lot of people, you know, we know and talk to who don't know wrestling. They're like, oh, I know that Sheamus guy though. He does have some recognition. So I think he's someone that will probably land up in AEW. And by the sounds of it, he kind of, you know, he pitched that story that he wanted the IC title and thought, you know, WrestleMania, like, let's do it. And I thought that was something you could absolutely do. Like him versus, I think Bron Breakker was the IC champion at the time, like 2 Manias ago, maybe. And yeah, I think that's something you could have done. Have Sheamus, I'll put my career on the line for the IC title at Mania. The story did kind of write itself, and it was one they had been telling for years, and them just opting not to do it. I think he saw that as, you don't really see any value in me anymore. And then being offered a pay cut after his extension, I think that was the writing on the wall. So he seems like someone that still wants to wrestle. So yeah, I totally see him showing up in AEW.
Like, is this how TKO treats the legends? The like long time, you know, staff, the people that have been putting the shifts in. Like, I just look at the New Day and Sheamus as a great example of like the last 10 plus years, 15 years more for Kofi, but like 15 years of like putting in shifts, and then you just, we're done with you. Thanks.
Yeah.
It kind of feels shitty. Like for anyone who's worked in a job profession in that amount of time, imagine you work 15 years somewhere and that's how it all ends. It's kind of shitty. It's very shitty, actually. So you kind of feel for some of these people who might still be there and seeing the writing on the wall. Wait a second. If they just did that to Kofi's been a champion. Kofi's been on TV a lot. Look, that Sheamus has been on TV for a long time, for 15 years, and they just did that to them. Well, what are they going to do to me? It's probably what
Yeah.
some of them are thinking. Again, Sheamus, if you asked me 5 years ago, I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. Now I'm like, put him in the G1. Put him in IWGP champion, Sheamus.
Yeah.
Book it.
Yeah.
Book. You know, I know he's older and he's got injuries
Sheamus
and stuff like that.
Takeshita. That sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I just want these dudes to be happy. And if you can physically do this, do it while you can. And go wrestle Claudio one more time. Join the Death Rider. We need an Irish variant of the Death Riders. And it's Sheamus. So bring on the bar in AEW. I'm so for it, and I just want this guy to be happy. Give him a great storyline, and it's like you act as if the international championship is the one title that's just been eluding him his whole career.
Yeah.
He goes for it.
I need my Grand Slam. I need
it.
Any of these mid-card belts in this company, and I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah.
Shall we move over to WWE?
Yes. Big week also. We had AEW, Kenny Omega winning the AEW World Championship on TV. But just 2 days before, CM Punk walks into Chicago and walks out WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And we have our main event of SummerSlam announced. The biggest match WWE could possibly do. And they're doing it. CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes, set for SummerSlam in Minnesota. Oh, baby.
Yeah, we kind of saw this coming, but it's big. It's a big match to do, and they announced it as the main event, which I assume means Sunday, night 2, going on last. Punk versus Cody.
These aren't Saturday, guys? These aren't the Saturday
I don't
night?
feel this is the Saturday match, no. Yeah, it's they kind of tied up those ends, as we were saying on Tuesday's show about you never know when an opportunity falls out of the sky, and it was kind of cool actually. Cody bringing up, hey, last time we were here, I had a black eye, and you just lost a championship, and now we're the other way around. I'm looking forward to the promos now. The next few weeks, let's start getting a little spiky between them. Like this was very much sportsmanship. Let's have this match, but we need things to get a little prickly between the two. But yeah, I've got no problem with this match. It's the biggest match you can pull off. And it is something you can still revisit at a WrestleMania or whatever with, roles being a little different, with someone playing more overtly heel and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm completely fine with this. And it does make, you're looking at this SummerSlam now, Reigns versus Seth, whatever. There are going to be people into that and the lore of that. We talked about that last week. Ober Brock Hell in a Cell is pretty big. And yeah, I think this is the biggest match you can put on. So I think SummerSlam is shaping up quite nicely, and they seem to be putting a bit more effort into this year's maybe than some previous ones. And a lot of that is down to it being 2 nights, and they've got to sell this big stadium, which tickets aren't really moving that well yet.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like 2 nights of a stadium show is a lot to ask. And what we've seen in the last year with this, you're getting 5 matches, 2 of them for free on this ESPN shit. So really it's like you're paying a lot of money to go to these stadium shows, and you're getting really 1 or 2 matches each night that you're really wanting to see in one night. Some people go to both, obviously, but like, it's a lot to ask of these people. This is the biggest match you can do. Next to this, it's Oba Roman at this point in WWE lore. Like, there's no bigger match. You could do Cody and Roman again. You could do Punk and Roman again, but we've done it. Roman, Oba, probably the next best thing. That's probably WrestleMania's main event. Yeah. And being honest, that's probably night 1 or night 2. The other main event is probably going to be this again. Like,
you could do, yeah.
Right? Like, this is probably what it's going to be, is Cody and Punk too, because we're not just going to see one of these matches. I'm sure we're going to get a few of them while we can. And this feels like the biggest match you can do. Having Punk beat Sami, we talked about it. We did it up next on Tuesday on Post Wrestling, where we were talking about NXT, but we talked about Sami losing and that whole story. And yeah, it sucks for Sami Zayn because he won the title. 9 days later, he loses it. And we were fantasy booking weeks ago like, oh, is he going to feud with Cody and stuff like that. It's like they didn't have that in their plans at all. They were like, no, we'll go back to Sami one day. And I'm sure this will ultimately just make him a bigger character if they ever choose to go back to that. But Punk winning made a whole lot of sense business wise. Like it just, he comes in and wins the title. It adds to the hypocrite Punk character. If we ever decide to pull the trigger, which, hey, SummerSlam could be the time to do that. He could do something dastardly to help himself beat Cody.
I think that's absolutely what should happen, because I don't think we need to see another Cody reign quite yet. It's starting to feel very Cena. I know we've put the Cena shows on a little hold on the Patreon, and we will get back to them. But, you know, it's feeling like that, isn't it? Oh, we'll drop it to someone for 3 weeks, and then Cody will get it back. And I think people are starting to see through it a little bit. And I think giving Punk a long reign as a heel and, you know, cheating to beat Cody, and you can then have him deny Cody that rematch until WrestleMania. Or, you know, if a Sami organically becomes hot again, you can always go to that when you're ready. But I think it's time. We've seen, you know, Punk's been back in wrestling now a good few years. He's been back in WWE for a few years now itself, and has just played the babyface the whole time. I think it's ready to see heel Punk again. And I think him having a hold on the title, if he can stay healthy right through to WrestleMania as a heel, would be a good move, I think.
Like, he's done all the things that he once told us he fights against or hates, or like he's the hypocrite, right? Like every single thing, including the part-time thing. Now I know, like the promo Sami cut after where he's upset, like, you piece of shit, you come in after you haven't been here for months. Like, okay, he hasn't been here for months, but think on the build up to Mania, he was there every week. He does wrestle a lot of the live shows ever since being back on track and coming back from injury and being champion and stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily call Punk a part-timer. He's just been away for like,
you know,
he took a break after WrestleMania, and like I totally understand that. I don't necessarily jump to the conclusions of like, oh, you know, Punk Hogan and all that kind of stuff. But you can't not see that he does all the things that he once was the voice of the voiceless, and now he's just basically become the New York Yankees, become John Cena, become The Rock. But it's okay because he's the one in the spotlight. So I think a heel turn is justified and would make a whole lot of sense. And I think it not just makes sense, I think it's going to make dollars. I think if you were to turn Punk, you can still have the fans that are like, nah, I still support him. Because that's, I don't want to throw stones here, but the CM Punk fans, y'all are hypocrites too. You're just like him if you're still supporting him. I think it's just the city of Chicago mostly, but like he still got his fans worldwide, but that's okay. You can be part of the story. The fans who agree with this guy, even though he's a heel, right?
For me, I'm a fan of Punk because he's interesting, you know, like, and that is
Taylor Swift for men
and all that on top. I don't want to hang out with the man. I don't think I'd get along with him particularly well, but I mean,
Pepsi sucks.
As a character, like, I find fascinating, and just the talk that he's always in the news. You know, he was out of wrestling for 7 odd years and was still the talk of the town all the time. Like, I find him an interesting character to follow, and that's why I am a fan. I'm not necessarily a fan of him as a person, but like, you know, I don't know him personally, but just, the hypocritical stuff does stand in mind. But I think you can have so much fun with a heel CM Punk. And he's good. He will get people booing him. As you said, he's still going to be a babyface in Chicago all the time. But when you have all these other baby faces on the rise, like your younger talent, like, would be great. You would get some steam behind them against a heel CM Punk.
Like, I think it makes total sense. If he's healthy, he's looking jacked, why wouldn't you have him as a champion? Why wouldn't you have this guy being your main events of these stadium shows? He's one of the biggest, if not A, B, or C quarterback. Like, he is your top guy. It is Punk, Roman, and Cody. And maybe add Oba, you know, creeping into that. very quickly of like being your top characters, your top stars here. And yeah, of course, like I've followed Sami Zayn. I've watched him wrestle in front of like 10 people, 20 people years ago. Of course I wanted to see him as WWE champion. But this is the right move. This is totally the right move. You hear in the stories of, if you're looking on WrestleTix, if that matters, and like, oh, you know, are they going to have 20,000 people in the stadium or 30,000 people in the stadium? Like, people buy tickets for CM Punk, definitely. Like, he is a big draw when it comes to WWE, I'd say.
I remember I was always a big Kurt Angle fan. And I remember No Way Out, like Austin winning the Rumble, Royal Rumble 2001. And I'm like, great, we're getting Stone Cold v Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 17. And then The Rock beats Kurt Angle. And I'm like, oh, man, we're getting Rock Austin. You're looking back and you're like, oh, that is 100% the right business move to do there. You put on the biggest match possible. And yeah, you're going to disappoint some fans of certain wrestlers, but it's like, they're giving us what we want here, really, aren't they? It's the two biggest stars that they've held off for way too long. And they even said that in the promo. It's like, hey, we've been kind of dancing around with each other, not having this match for quite a while. Shall we do the match now? Let's do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I was kind of hoping for Punk versus Royce Keys. It's the main event, SummerSlam. I like how he shouted him out.
Yeah.
Like Royce Keys, he shouted everyone out except Cody, and that's the bit. But yeah, I think this is the biggest match to go to. And like, I would lean into heel CM Punk post SummerSlam. I would have him cheat to beat Cody and lean into the summer of Punk, but it's twisted a little bit. You don't have to have him full heel, but you can have him be, you know, a bit of a dick. You know, the best characters are the extensions of themselves. And CM Punk, I think, has mastered that over the years, except we've all seen that he's a hypocrite. And a lot of the things he said 10, 15, 20 years ago, he's now, you know, doing, essentially. And I think there's money to be made in that. Like, use that as part of the character if they aren't already. Like, lean into that. I think people would still cheer him over Cody, though, even if he was a heel, if that makes sense. So I don't want them to just go heel Cody quite yet, because I don't think that would make sense in this story. I would like Cody to, you said you wanted a bit of an edge where they're, you know, throwing daggers at each other in these promos leading up to SummerSlam. We need Cody to be like, yo, you're a fucking hypocrite. You're a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, all these things you said you did, and X, Y, and whatever. But hopefully we're in for a great ride with this feud and story. But I think that's the biggest match you can do in WWE. And then on the flip side, AEW, biggest match I think is Ospreay and Omega that you could do while we still can. So yeah, this summer is heating up with some great,
absolutely
big shows to look forward to, but specifically 2 real big matches.
And are we getting a big European showdown at SummerSlam with Gunther versus Nick Aldis? As SmackDown closed, Gunther being pissed off, I don't want a fucking tag match at Saturday night's main event, and choking out the boss, choking out Nick Aldis. This seems pretty evident now at this point that this is the way we're going. Nick Aldis returning to the ring to face Gunther.
I totally get it. This guy's been a character, the GM and all that stuff, and Gunther and him had been beefing. It doesn't do a whole lot for me. Maybe it's because I have watched Magnus wrestle. You can't trick me into wanting to. I watched TNA when he was there. You know, we were at the All In with him and Cody.
Hey,
sure.
that All In match was fun. I think a lot of smoke and mirrors, but it was fun.
Name one other fucking match from this dude.
I didn't watch TNA, so I have no idea.
So, like, I think it's cool that they've been doing this storyline and whatever. But at the end of the day, you're trying to trick me into thinking I'm excited to watch Nick Aldis wrestle. The truth is, I'm not. I don't care about this, but I'm sure this story gets some people going and gets people invested in it, and hopefully we can pull out a good match. I think, you know what it comes down to. I don't know if this is a hot take or anything, but I'm just gonna say it and get it off my chest. Gunther bores the shit out of me. Like, I don't like this year of Gunther. Like, love him. Will go down as a legend, Hall of Fame, multiple time champion. this year with the Goldberg and the Pat McAfee and John Cena even, I don't like it. I don't like this character. I hate the way he looks. He doesn't look menacing. He looks like he's going to do my taxes. He looks like my bank agent. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, this guy should be killing people. I know the picture you have up is him putting the sleeper on the GM, but like, I don't give a fuck if he fights Magnus. Put him in a world title match. Put him in something that kind of means something. Just this whole year, I feel like it's just been this up and down. And okay, you're in a title feud. Okay, you didn't win the title feud. Now you're in a feud with a commentator. Okay, now you didn't win the title. Now you're in the feud with the GM. It's like, okay, like it just feels like this has been a bit of a copy paste, rinse repeat of this character, and I haven't been liking it. So yeah, I have been bored with Gunther. I miss Walter. Bring back Walter, where you were just big and actually scary. Now I'm like, you look like my banker. I don't know.
I half agree with you, and I think the weird kind of feuds he's had this year are a compliment from WWE to him in a weird way, because it is recognizing you are a key player here, and we need you to have like big marquee matches, but we can't necessarily have you as champion right now because we got Cody, we got Punk, we got Roman, and therefore it's finding these interesting, almost gimmicky matches for him to do. And I think something that I've really enjoyed with Gunther since moving up to the main roster is his promo, is just his dickishness, like how he laughs and how he's getting into Aldis's face. I think all of that stuff has been really good. He has lost a bit, like with the weight loss. I know what you mean. But I think he just, we need to heat up those people like Ilya Dragunov so we can have those killer matches that he used to have. I'm not necessarily just saying Ilya, but I think smaller guys that can take a beating and tell that David and Goliath story, he's always great at. I've barely watched any Nick Aldis. I can't say what I've seen from him is the most flashy wrestler in the world, but I think a lot of WWE fans have never seen this guy wrestle. And apart from a few, I think apart from a few throwaway lines about like you're a failed wrestler and all that kind of stuff, I think you're going to get the novelty of the surprise when, we see this guy who isn't in a suit and he's going to look jacked and ripped and knows how to wrestle. And people are going to be like, whoa, where's this being hiding? And he's not necessarily going to be putting on a 5-star match, but I think there's going to be that element of surprise for some audience members that will kind of make this work.
I totally understand that. Like, that's exactly why they're doing it. Yeah, more than half of these people don't know that he was a wrestler or have watched him wrestle before. So I'm sure you're going to get that factor. And he's just a GM, he's not a wrestler, is going to add to the story. I'm just saying it does zero for me. Like, no matter, at the end of the day, you're tricking me into watching Magnus. It's like, you're not. You're not tricking me, and I'm not going to. This is my smoke break match. Like, I don't care about this feud. I'd rather Gunther go after, do something. But that's what I'm saying. Every time he's in the title picture, and then they move to something bigger and more important, it's okay. You're gonna feud with Pat McAfee. You're gonna feud with. It's like, okay, well, you're just doing it again. It's literally been a year of this now, where he's just that character that you slide into these kinds of positions. And I don't know. It hasn't necessarily. He's had some fine matches. I liked the triple threat with Sami and Cody. That was probably one of the more recent. It's probably that and then the Cena match that comes to mind of like, because all the other stuff in the last year plus of Gunther has not been clicking with me personally. But I understand that some people have been really.
I personally like the AJ stuff. I preferred that to the Cena match. But myself,
you like the match better than the Cena match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like I watched that match back and it did nothing for me. So I was like, okay, like Gunther, you're great, but they don't want to use him in this, like, we've already seen Gunther Punk, so we don't necessarily need to go back to that, even though Punk did call him out. Like, I don't know. I kind of
a lot of the,
I hate
like,
to say it.
Since the weight loss, a lot of your main eventers look bigger than him. Like when
Yeah.
when he had that feud with Sami Zayn, in your head, you're thinking of Sami as this small guy against this giant. But Sami's packed on the muscle the last few years, and he's kind of tall as well. So you look at the visual there and you go, Sami's kind of as big as Gunther here. And then you're putting him against, Roman Reigns or like all these other guys who kind of just match him in size now. Whereas I think on the indies, he was so special. He had the weight behind him to start with, but was generally, facing smaller people. He was facing JD McDonough and Ilya Dragunov and Pete Dunne and people like that, where Tyler Bate, like all smaller people that he could really bully, but he can't really bully around like they still, I think he does a good job of still like acting like he's the size he is and his opponent's selling, but there is that visual when you're looking and you go, dude, you and Punk are the same size. Like, I'm not buying Punk selling all this, right? This is this monster giant, because he just isn't anymore.
Like, don't get me wrong, this dude's incredible. This guy is awesome, and I'm sure he like I said, he will go down with an incredible career. He'll be multi-time champion. He will be champion again. He will main event some pay-per-views and get into some juicy feuds, hopefully. But just this last year, it's like he has been that team player. You are being thrown in these weird things I genuinely don't care about that he's been in, and it just feels like we do the same thing. All right, put him in the sleeper and the pull apart, and oh my God, he shouldn't have done that. This guy's not a wrestler. Oh my God. And it's like, we did this already. It just feels that way. But I'm sure some people will get a kick out of it for Nick Aldis.
So Penta is going to be having a match at SummerSlam, and we have a gauntlet match set for Raw tomorrow night. Chad Gable, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, Joe Hendry, Dominic Mysterio, Rusev, and Ethan Page. Who do you see Penta's opponent being for SummerSlam?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Where do you see this going? Like, I would imagine a one-on-one, right?
Yeah, so like Chad Gable kind of makes sense with his whole redemption story, but then you're talking it's a babyface v babyface thing. So maybe with Maxine turning and joining the Vision, we'll have more Chad involved in that. So then I'm looking at the heels, and is it Dom? Does Dom make the most sense here to be facing Penta? Is that a bit of a retread of stuff we've already done?
It's a repeat.
And then I really like Ethan Page. I'm not sure if he's over enough yet to be getting a big SummerSlam match, and that is something we've also seen. And then you're looking at the baby faces again, Javon, Dragon Lee, and Joe Hendry. So I'm really not sure with this one. You bring
up a good point. Like, do you think Ethan Page, I know he's been featured on TV, so that's great already, but do you think like they're just doing a disservice by not letting him do what like he's good at? Yeah. Am I crazy? I'm like, why haven't
they started him off really hot, I thought, and
then
doing the right thing, giving him the mic and stuff, and now he's hanging around with Rusev.
Yeah, and like once you hang out with Rusev, you're gonna stink like Rusev. So like you're already put in that position, and fans see you as that. So I don't know. He's been kind of damaged really quickly. It reminds me of Ricky Starks. It's the same thing, just two different shows. And it's like, hey, you're trying to be these heels, but I don't know. I think it's not the end of the world, and I think Ethan Page can bounce back. But like, give him a promo and let him talk. And I feel like that might help, because that's why he's here, because he's really good. Like, he's a good wrestler, but like, dude should be cutting promos on Punk at this point. Like, I know he's got it in him, and I've been waiting for that. But yeah. Anyways,
so who are we leaning for here?
I really don't know. I'd go with Ethan Page, but I don't know if that's necessarily a. We've done that already too on TV. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I can't call this one. Maybe it's Gable, and we do just do a babyface v babyface, and it's a bit of a like full circle moment for Gable, where he finally wins the IC title, but he's done it the right way now.
Right.
Maybe that's something, and they can shake hands after the match or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything else from WWE this week you want to talk
about? SmackDown. We have Trick Williams and Lil Yachty, Young Boat, gifts him his legacy title.
Oh yeah.
The furry US title. The Trick Williams exclusive. White Polar Bear United States Championship. Is this available yet on WWE Shop? Has our friend Big Tom Pure Fandom bought this yet? I'm sure it will be.
I would assume this is on WWE Shop already. Like
Right.
the way they plugged it, it's like your very own. Like they were doing the commercial, weren't they? As they were showing this belt to him. Yes, it is up on there. Guess how much this is?
I'm gonna say like $700 or some shit.
Yeah, $699.99. You got it right.
US? Oh wow, it is on WWE Shop. I guess that's real fur, right? Polar bear.
I don't think that's real fur there.
I like how
I'm sure Tom is trying to make his equivalent of it.
Yeah, I could make this. I'll go to Dollarama, get one of my belts, and then get this fake fur all behind it.
Yeah,
it is pretty funny. It matches his coat, his fur coat.
Yeah,
so yeah,
nice.
I thought he did when he gave it to him, and then he's walking out. He's like, "Yeah, you look like a polar bear." And then Lil Yachty goes, "Urgh." I thought that was pretty funny. He has the new Legacy Furry Championship, which I'm all about. I'm surprised Trick got the furry title before Tyler Breeze got the furry title, but I guess you have to win titles.
What title?
Yeah, exactly. I liked that we had Trick versus Carmelo because I felt like this match was geared towards people like me, meaning I watched them in NXT and I know the history between them, so therefore this feels like a bigger match than it actually is.
Yeah.
And then they bring back Baron Corbin to interrupt it.
I forgot about this. Yes.
I was so confused. I'm like, okay, wait a second. Trick and Mello, who are having a pretty decent match, all of a sudden Baron Corbin shows up to interfere. I don't know why. Why did we do this? Why are we going back to Baron Corbin? Why is he on my screen?
I love Baron Corbin. Yeah, why not? Bring him back. You've just saved some pennies with Sheamus. Why not throw it to Corbin, who is a Baron again. Still not sure if Baron is his title or his name. But yes, Baron Corbin returning to a "This is awesome" chant.
This is awesome. Yeah, I turned off SmackDown. I turned off SmackDown after that, and then realized that wasn't the last segment, and then we had the stuff with Gunther and all this after, so I did go back and watch it. But look, bless the guy. He has been grinding. He's been still wrestling since leaving WWE, and he's been like doing the MLW stuff. Good for
the tag team with Dijak.
I'll say it, if you've listened to over the years, like this guy is probably one of my least favorite wrestlers or characters, full stop, in WWE in the last like 20 years. However, the guy seems like a decent dude, and no one ever seems to have any issues with this guy when it comes to real life. Let me reiterate, one of my least favorite wrestlers, maybe ever. I would not have let him go. I would not have cut him. I would not have released him, simply because he's been a good player. He's been someone you could use as a good hand. You could use him to help elevate other people. We've seen him in NXT as the Wolf Dogs with Braun Breaker. That helped get Braun Breaker over. You could easily go back to that and put him in a tag team with Braun Breaker. Like, I wouldn't have let go of him just because of like he's a tall guy who actually can wrestle, who can, who can, make other people look good. And I think that's the reason why we brought him back. It doesn't do anything for me. I wouldn't be using him in a title picture. I wouldn't be giving him even the US title. But sure, why not?
I don't think he's a bad wrestler. I think he's a good in-ring wrestler, and I think he is someone that can.
He's not bad, but he's not good. You can't.
What I'm saying is he's just boring. And I think he's been in the wrong roles so many times in WWE. He's even been given awful gimmicks, or he's been over pushed and put in situations and matches and feuds where he really shouldn't be in, like the Roman feud, like the Seth feud. And I think things like that definitely add a stink. But I think he is. I think, losing the New Day, losing Sheamus, I think they do look at, hey, who's a positive influence in the locker room? You mentioned that. Everyone seems to have good things to say about Baron Corbin. Who is a good presence, who can work with some of these younger guys in the ring and is competent enough on the mic to sell some stories and things. I do find it a bit of a surprising call, especially when you've just let go some of those people I just named. But if he's sticking, I've no problem with him sticking around the mid card. Just don't know your lane. And actually, I'd welcome a Wolf Dogs reunion because I actually thought that was his best work he did in the company. And it was hidden in NXT, and there was some pretty fun stuff. And he started pulling out some new moves and things like that at the end of that NXT run. But I was surprised when this happened. I was like, wait, what's happening?
I was very confused, to be honest. I was very confused. I wasn't spoiled on this, and I was just like, wait, what? Okay, let me get this positivity again out the way. I'm being too positive talking about Baron Corbin here because, again, I probably wouldn't have cut him because, he's a fine character. He's been around. Sure, why not? Dude looks like he knows how to cook a mean burger and a mean steak. That's probably another good plus. But you just said they got rid of Kofi. They've let Sheamus leave. They've let there's so many list of people that aren't there anymore that probably should be. And Baron Corbin is someone you brought back.
Yeah.
So let me get rid of this positivity and let's go back. Let me hold on. Wake myself back up. Yeah. Wait. Sorry. Baron Corbin is back. I actually watched SmackDown and was enjoying the main event. Here we go. I feel back to being myself. And you interrupt it with Baron Corbin returning. Okay, let's just make sure that's what they actually did on TV. This is holy shit chants from the audience.
They loved it.
You tell me often hey, you should. I can't say something is bad if I've not watched it. So I watch my job. I watch it and I talk about it like I am right now. This really doesn't make me want to watch SmackDown next week ever again. Actually, this makes me go, guys, you were doing so well though. You were doing so good. Look at this, a furry title, Lil Yachty, some wrestling, Carmelo. Wow, SmackDown's great. Wait, what's that? The general manager's getting a match at SummerSlam? Okay, I can overlook that. Sorry. Baron Corbin's back? All right. You guys lost me again, unfortunately. Two steps forward, it's about 3 steps back every fucking time I watch WWE. I swear. Every time I watch it. I'm like, I started this show, Cody and Punk. I'm like, fuck yes, finally. Something juicy. Feels like Stone Cold and The Rock promoting a big fucking match. I can't wait. But we end the show with Baron Corbin and then the GM getting in a feud with some wrestler. I'm like, yeah, this show isn't for me, actually. Every time they pull me back in, they give me a reason to remind me why I don't like this shit. It's Baron Corbin. There's got to be 10 dudes above Baron Corbin that they've let. Look, what's Karrion Kross doing? I'd fucking take him.
No. You've gone too far. No. Okay.
We don't need. Are they tag team champions? Or is that Dijak?
No, it was Dijak.
There's another. I'd bring him back more than Baron Corbin.
Corbin is twice the wrestler Karrion Kross is.
I don't like either of these guys, don't get me wrong. But there's got to be a whole list of people that are not with WWE anymore. And for some reason, we brought back Baron Corbin. Bless him.
I think there's a bit of money balling though, right? If you're paying Sheamus and the New Day big contracts, and then you're offering them 50% cuts. And they're going, no, fuck off. Baron Corbin's been away for over a year, making MLW money. 50% of his previous WWE contract will still be more than MLW, So we've saved the Sheamus money. Let's bring in Corbin.
Okay, but then you go to a grocery store and the Wagyu burgers that Baron Corbin probably buys are really expensive. But, this barbecue tonight is going to be a good barbecue. It would be really good if we had Wagyu burgers. But you know what? shouldn't spend that money. Let's go buy 2 boxes of the shittiest burgers we can possibly buy and hope that no one notices. That's pretty much what's happening here. Yeah, you guys like Kofi Kingston? You guys like the New Day? Too bad. We got Baron Corbin. That's who your legacy return is featured around. It sounds funny saying it. Like, oh wow, we brought Baron Corbin. That'll put asses in seats. Yeah, I'm not. Fuck
it's
this
not
show.
necessarily about that, though, is it? Like, you're not bringing Baron Corbin to sell out SummerSlam.
No.
You're bringing him to be probably, as you said, a good hand, a veteran in the locker room. And, you know, you've worked with this guy for years and you know he's not going to be any issues, any problems. And he's probably coming in for that role, right?
Yeah, but then all those people at your party would be like, it'd be really great if we had Wagyu burgers tonight.
I don't know. I just did a barbecue this week and no one paid for any of the stuff I bought. So, like, I'd be just grateful for someone bringing over 2 boxes of burgers, to be honest. So,
but if you're like Baron Corbin,
I'm not expecting Wagyu at my barbecue.
Raise your standards then. Like, why would you need to watch this guy when there's so many other good wrestlers out there? That's my problem. I'm like, why are you bringing him in when, like, you just released so many people? You cut contracts with all these characters that people do have connections with. And this was the one guy that you chose to bring back. You do mention, like, there is stuff behind the scenes that maybe we aren't taking into account. Pay cuts, money, people's contracts and things like that. Maybe there are stories of wrestlers taking these pay cuts because they don't want to leave. They do want to be on TV. There was Kevin Nash in a podcast. This clip has been going viral talking about Sami Zayn. Kevin Nash allegedly says, or he alleges, I guess, that Sami Zayn is one of the people that took a pay cut. And that's why they gave him the WWE title. To be like, well, look, we gave you the title. That's according to Kevin Nash. He alludes that is what happened. If that's Sami Zayn, this must have happened to other people. Sheamus leaving, New Day leaving. Like, maybe there is some writing on the wall there that is clear. But you're right, like a Baron Corbin coming in, like, what? Just of all
he's
the people.
He's a no name. You got that shock. Like, you hear the reaction there, and you also don't need to teach him WWE. Does that make, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he can just slot in. He knows how it works. He knows where the hard cam is, brother, and all that. But, like,
he always knew how to do a good deep 6, and he always used to know how to do what's his move? The end of days?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a baffling, just another genuine reaction for me of like, oh, they got me again, you motherfuckers. So Baron Corbin back in WWE. So excited.
Did you catch any of Dark Side of the Ring?
Yes, Dark Side of the Ring season 7. They've returned. One of the best shows, honestly, as a wrestling fan. And a true crime fan. I mean, this one not necessarily true crime unless you're talking about the crimes of some of the stuff they've booked on TV that they made everyone watch. I love this show so much. Dark Side has been awesome. And every episode, even if it's something like an Owen Hart or Chris Benoit or something like Collision in Korea or like a tugboat or like all the little characters that they have featured, even those episodes I find super interesting and fascinating. But they came out with the first 2-parter, part 1 and 2 of a 3-parter actually of TNA Jeff Jarrett, the battle for TNA. So a whole 3-part documentary, but 3 hours on Jeff Jarrett and the battle for TNA. And yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes and absolutely loved it.
Yeah, really liked it. I think Jeff Jarrett, I know you've kind of met him a couple of times with your old job and things, and you always said he was very charming. I think that comes across in this. Mm-hmm. He comes across quite honest and likable in this documentary. Now, I was never really someone who was watching TNA, but he kind of makes it sound like TNA was great until Dixie came along, which I'm pretty sure I was hearing criticisms pre-2009 about TNA. But I've liked it. I think it is is a shame Dixie's not on this show, because you'd kind of want her to maybe try and defend herself a little bit, because she's definitely being made out to be sort of this big bad on this show. And, you know,
she could have done. She turned them down, no?
She turned them down. Exactly.
I mean, that only shows like that she probably knows she's in the wrong. She probably knows that she will come across looking bad. Yeah, I feel like she was smart enough to know that even if I'm truthful in some of the things I say, I think they're going to turn it against me and make me look like the bad guy. And that's probably why she didn't agree to join in on this. I would say that was what was missing, her side of the story, essentially. But as someone who did watch TNA, without knowing, because I was younger, I wasn't necessarily like super online or, you know, into wrestling like I am now, where I'm, you know, podcasting about it and shit like that. But I would say around 2008 is when I definitely stopped watching TNA. Right. Around like 2008, 2009, without knowing that stuff, what was going on. But I thought this episode was great, and I thought Jeff Jarrett did come across charming, and I liked that he wasn't necessarily like banging his drum of like, oh, look at all this great stuff I did. It was also like, hey, like, I also did some bad stuff, and I also, you know, fought tooth and nail for this. And I think that's something that people maybe forget, and fans, we often just kind of, you know, throw jokes or throw shade and stuff like that over the years. But this guy like fought for his life to have this company, to do this company. And I know we have AEW and Tony Khan, the son of a billionaire and all that stuff, but it wasn't necessarily like that for wrestling. And like, people in TNA didn't get paid a whole lot, and Jeff Jarrett was using all of his money to keep it afloat. And like, you hear like money was the issue. If they had AEW money in TNA in 2005, for example, I think they would have been a very viable competitor for WWE. Like, they would have been huge if they had the money and the budget that AEW has.
Yeah, you say what you will about TNA, but it was vital to the wrestling industry that it existed. You know, like having that other TV show and just being able to give people like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles the exposure, having somewhere for people to go when they're cut from WWE. Like, you can't just have one big company and such a divide between them and then the indies. Because like, would an AJ Styles have eventually made it to being WWE champion had TNA not existed? Maybe, you don't know, but it definitely sort of gave a platform for them. And I think he saw that. He saw the need for the wrestling business to have it. And I do admire him for like going and, you know, having a bit of a stink to his name after the way he left WWF and then being humiliated by being fired live on TV and all that sort of stuff. It was needed. And it is sad to like hear this bit with Dixie, who's just trying to like fuck him and get him out. And I think Karen Jarrett has been fantastic on this. Like, I've loved some of her sound bites, and like, she seems like a pretty strong woman with like conviction behind her opinions and things like that. I think she's been a great talking head on this, and it's kind of cool to clear the air with the Angle relationship and all that stuff as well, which I believed her side of that. That kind of all made sense to me, because we know what Kurt was going through with alcohol and pills and all that around the time. So I kind of believed that, whether it's the truth or not, it did seem to make sense to me anyway.
Again, like, these are people giving their side of the story. Obviously, they can choose to say or omit things, obviously, in what they say in these interviews. But I thought it felt genuine from some of the voices that we got. Even Vince Russo being like, hey, I was making shit, but I was getting paid to write shit. And I thought genuinely that this was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You can't look, I do not like Vince Russo, but when Jim Cornette,
he's honest, right? Like in a way.
Yeah, like he's honest. And I don't like Jim Cornette either, but I thought he comes across better in this than Vince Russo. Other than the fact that it sounds like he threatened to kill him, and Russo says like, "Yo, it's wrestling. Like, it's not that serious."
I
Man.
do remember that being in the news when it's
right.
like, you're gonna threaten to kill me over some fucking wrestling.
I think certain people come across good, but again, they're choosing what they say and whatnot. And I think it's good to hear him be like, "Hey, I held Vince up for money." We all know that story. He does kind of go past it a little bit here. He's like, "Well, he agreed to give me the 100,000, so I thought, why not try to get more money?" And it's like, yeah, well, you do realize that is a shit thing to do.
Yeah.
Even though if you're owed this money or not, to basically have a ransom of like, "I'm not going to do this unless you pay me," is probably not a good idea. And they kind of blow past that of like Jeff being like, maybe I was wrong to do that. You were, but maybe you were owed that money. Something like Jim Cornette, I think he's great in Dark Side of the Ring because he's lived these lives. He knows all these characters and people, and he's got great views on this. Do I listen to his views on modern day pro wrestling? Absolutely not. But I love to hear him talk about stuff like this. Like I love Jim Cornette in Dark Side of the Ring. I loved him in the older seasons, and I loved him on this episode. And hearing him just go off on Vince Russo was just hilarious and fantastic. But the other side of this thing, I mentioned, like, yeah, we all know big stories. Like, if you know people who don't know wrestling, they probably know about the Owen Hart stuff and Chris Benoit. But Jeff Jarrett, no one's going to know who Jeff Jarrett is if you don't know wrestling. But here you get like his real story. You hear, not only is this guy putting every cent and penny and all his power in life into this wrestling company that's bleeding money every day it exists, but he's doing it just to do it. We can't just let WWE be the only wrestling in town. And he's got family history with wrestling. And like he did everything in his power to do this, all while his wife is dying. Breast cancer. Yeah. Like, those are stories you don't necessarily hear about.
His best friend has passed.
Your best friend died, and you were next to go out and wrestle. Like, there's some crazy deep shit in there. Like, you wonder why this guy went into drinking and stuff like that. It was like, yo, bro has been through it. He's lived like 10 lives.
Yeah.
I think that's what Darkseid does the best. And I reiterate, like, you know all the big stories. Yeah, you know who Macho Man and Elizabeth is and stuff like that. But I love hearing this about wrestlers. You know, it's not necessarily the most dark side of the ring, hearing about this guy's family and his wife passing, but this is real human stories. These are huge human connections that I feel watching this, when this guy is explaining to me, the reason I went into alcohol and depression and all these things is because I'm trying to keep this company alive while my wife is dying and dies. I think there's so many stories about wrestlers we could hear about that are very similar that we just don't know about. And I think maybe Darkseid is a great companion piece to being a fan. And even if you're not a fan, this guy's talking about his wife and his family, and like, how do you not connect with that? Right. So love this show. Everyone behind Dark Side of the Ring, you are doing fantastic work. And I hope they make 5 more seasons, 20 more seasons. Like, I know the argument is they're running out of dark things to talk about, but that's kind of what I'm getting at is, I don't mind hearing about personal things. I'm okay with hearing about little documentaries about these people that maybe we don't know about, when they go out for years, like a Jeff Jarrett, and put their body and their life on the line for our entertainment. Like Russo said, it's wrestling. It's not that serious, but it clearly is, because there's season 7 of Side of the Ring.
I mean, it's not that serious, but anything that puts a roof over your head and feeds your kids is serious. You know,
wrestling podcasting ain't serious, but it is to us because we make money, and that's serious.
You can empathize with him, like putting his all into creating this from nothing and building it up, and then finally getting some actual decent financial backing, and then being kicked out of your own company. Like,
it would suck.
Fucking
fuck
suck.
with you.
And while you're already being like, this is the thing that's keeping me sane, this is the thing that's keeping me from spiraling over, like, you know, the loss of my wife, and now this is what it's giving back to me, this is what the business is giving back to me, must absolutely suck.
Could you imagine this scenario? your wife is gonna pass away or has passed away, breast cancer, money problems for this company that every day you're worried will go under. And then on top of that, your dad goes behind your back and helps WWE sign Vladimir Kozlov.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? I had to pause the episode. I completely forgot about that thing that happened with the picture of him and Vladimir Kozlov from like the 2000s. Oh my God. Yeah, this show is great, but yeah, he stole Vladimir. That could have changed everything. Kozlov could have been TNA champion. Instead, he went on to feud with The Undertaker for a little bit, and then they realized, he's not quite the guy either. So
it's true. Yeah.
Anyways, love this episode. Can't wait for episode 3. I feel like it'll really bring it all like together.
I mean, I assume it's Hogan and Bischoff, right? Is the focus on
Yeah.
the next one, I guess.
Yeah, because they really run it into the ground. But I thought part 1 and 2 was great. You know, it showed clips of TNA in highlights, and it showed stuff that was bad, and it showed the Fire Russo stuff. We reviewed Destination X 2007. I was there, the last rights match. People chanting Fire Russo. I was like 16, 17, like, why are they chanting that? Why are they chanting? I mean, this shit was awful, but why are they chanting?
Did you know
that?
who Russo was? Then?
Yeah. I think I joined in, and my dad's like, "Who's Russo?" I'm like, "Don't worry, we're gonna get him fired. It's gonna work." And it didn't. Love this episode. Love these 2 episodes. Can't wait for the next ones. This whole season, I again love this show so much, and Dark Side is awesome. It's a great show to recommend to friends who don't know wrestling, but like know that you know wrestling. If that makes sense. Yeah. Anyways, great stuff. Can't wait for more. Anything else this week? Oh, there's one last thing.
Okay.
Did you see what happened last night at UFC 239?
I did, but I don't really care to give that man any attention, but lol.
It's like, oh, look, Conor McGregor. Oh, and he's gone.
Yeah.
Where are you at? The reason I bring it up, Conor McGregor has his return, and within a minute, he's injured, and the fight is thrown out, and he loses. The internet today is asking questions. Did he know he was hurt before the fight? And Conor is taken to social media to be like, no, of course not. That's crazy. Which, yeah, it is crazy. But you know what else is crazy? Sports betting and how it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And if this guy didn't go out there and fight, if you can call it a fight, maybe there was a reason why he still got into that octagon. I don't know.
I wouldn't even say sports betting. I'd just say money. Like, he's still, as much as I despise him and don't think people like him should be given a platform. I'm looking at you, Jimmy Fallon.
That was sus. That was very sus.
Yeah, like, he's still a draw to people, and a lot of your UFC fans don't care. So you put him, even if he's completely washed, you put him on a poster, it's gonna draw. You know, same with Ronda. Like, it's gonna draw. We just saw that with the Netflix thing. And so yeah, he could go in injured or not in any condition to be in there and fighting and throw it. And it reminded me of CM Punk versus John Moxley. You know, the Dynamite match where it's, I've tweaked my leg. And I've been beaten. You know, when they made that interim title, not interim, and then you built to that rematch. It kind of felt like that, where it was just, hey, everyone's already made their money. These tickets have already been sold. Paramount's got their money. Connor's got his money. Holloway's got his money. Dana's got his money. Everyone's got their money. TKO has their money. It doesn't matter if we actually have a fight or not. You had the walkout. You got in the ring. The bell technically did ring. That's all that matters. And yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see this again in another 2 years or whatever. With
I would imagine,
Conor
like, he is saying,
talks up a big game, and 10 seconds done.
I think he does. I think he tries to do it again. Like, he says he's trying to do it again. You saw, like, the commentators bringing it up, and Rogan was like, "Oh, I don't think he's gonna do that again." It's like he clearly wants to. The money is people will do it. Like the bars downtown were packed for this fight, so people don't give a fuck about this guy and his personal life or know about it. They just say, "Oh, we know who this guy is. He's the big famous fighter. Let's go watch the fight." And unfortunately, that's people don't know or don't care about that kind of stuff, which is shitty. But on the other side, what's shitty is this is not even a fight. Like, what happened to MMA? Really? This is coming from a guy who watches fake fighting. This shit looks fake. Between this and the Ronda Netflix fight, you're telling me the next time some MMA fighter goes, "Oh, you watch that fake shit?" Yeah, so do you. This shit looks so fake. I don't know if this was rigged. It doesn't look rigged to me. It just, they're fucking you over for your money. And that's what I got out of this. Like, injured before the fight or not, I don't think he was. I think he did it in the opening seconds of that fight. But garbage. Garbage humans, garbage fighting. That wasn't a fight. I've seen bigger fights outside bars downtown. Like last week, saw two crackheads fighting the other day. It was more entertaining. I went longer than this, but yeah. Were you expecting anything else from that? Probably not. This is fucking broken leg. But anyways.
Well, there we have it. We'll be back on Tuesday on Up Next, postwrestling.com. Go check us out. We'll probably be talking a bit about Monday Night Raw from tomorrow evening. And of course, a big episode of NXT.
Absolutely.
Is it big? I can't remember what's on. I'm sure it's
probably not. It's so big.
Shake the foundation of wrestling to its core. Yes.
Maybe Baron Corbin will show up.
Hopefully.
Change the Wolf Dogs. Bring them back. Appreciate everyone out there listening. Again, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, hit that download. It goes a long way. If you're listening or watching us on YouTube, drop a comment, a little like. It goes so far. And check out Poisonrana.ca for links of everything else that we do. We have a Patreon where we do tons of shows. It's $5 a month to get access to hundreds of different podcasts, movie reviews, wrestling. It's all there. So if you like what you hear and you want to support, check us out. It's $5. And we'll be back this Tuesday with some NXT. We won't be live next Sunday because it's World Cup, so it's coming home, hopefully. But we will attempt to do some sort of redemption preview show ahead of our trip to Montreal. So stay tuned for that. And best match ever, Jeff Jarrett, SummerSlam 01, tons of shows, Poisonrana.ca. But appreciate the frogs and friends. That is it. That is all. Take care. Goodbye and be safe.
Ahoy!